We live in a time of incredible change. If we don't increase the client base of cities to include endangered wildlife, we will be the only species left on this planet. How do we start to change this? This is the question I've dedicated my life to answering. Working in Africa is tremendously exciting. I've traveled the world and are yet to find a place of such cultural dependence and interrogation of the natural environment. But to work here, you must be on the ground, in the language, looking deep into people's faces to ever produce something meaningful. That type of relational connection is what I want to strengthen between people and their natural environment. So as architects, as an architectural firm, we believe that humans are responsible for all life. And when you design a building, we're very sensitive to any life that lives around it, if that's trees or plants or animals, including people. The Zulus say Sawubona, a greeting that means I see you. I recognize your presence, but more than that, you and I are connected. We thrive best together. We design the spaces in which people live, and after that, those spaces start to influence and define people, even in a subconscious way.
You are creating a landscape that things live on. Birds live on top of buildings. Lizards live inside buildings. This is nature trying to access our buildings, and yet we don't design for these things. How do we increase the client base of architecture to include other life forms, really?
Our wildlife is so iconic, arguably the most recognized in the world.
And so what we focus on at MSSA is really
urban growth that involves clients outside human beings. That's the future world that we live in. How do we keep our tourism areas flourishing when cities are growing? So that's the kind of vision that we have. It's beyond just a building, beyond just a city. It's really looking at the relational and spatial communication between rural and urban for us to live in a functional world.
We work from our mobile field studio, which is really a converted 4x4 that allows us to work across the continent digitally. And everything that we make is handmade. We hand draw, we make physical models. You can't design for a client you don't understand. So in order to do that, you need to be on the ground and inspire ourselves and the design thinking with things that are outside of the urban realm.
You know, you're sitting, designing a building, drawing a line on a page, and the next thing, this thing is coming out the ground. And that's very inspiring, to have something that really outlasts your own lifetime. And the influence and responsibility you have is substantial in that regard.
Winston Churchill said, we design our buildings and then they design us. It's a very humble art, but very important to the functioning of society.
Social economic development is the priority one of most African governments. What we do, though, is balance the conversation with ecological sensitivity. We mediate the spatial relationship between urban growth and threatened biodiversity. Our experience in large-scale civic buildings equips us to tackle all building context and scale types. It is our research and sustainability approach that makes us unique to produce contemporary architecture at the highest sustainability standards. We are reversing local extinction through sustainable architecture. We need to start designing for clients outside human beings. That's what it takes to make good, lasting architecture. Is to be sensitive to the context in which you design.